Good afternoon, class. I'd like to talk to everyone this evening about the poverty plight in Venezuela. This is a case study to delve a little bit more deeply. This slide talks about basically the poverty crisis that's in Venezuela and the role of the social worker. Venezuela has one of the highest poverty rates in South America, and many of the children don't survive past age 2 because of the malnutrition that they have. Inflation is really at an all-time high in Venezuela, and the picture to the right depicts a family and just living off of basically water and a little bit of dough that they've gathered up to feed a family of a lot. Many people don't have anything to sustain themselves from day to day as the government continues to deny and turn a blind eye to the problem. Interventions to help in this situation with poverty, one measure that I found that could be used is to interview different families that are affected by this plight through quantitative data. Within this data, it could be collected throughout several months from neighbors to see exactly what could be done in order to help them to rebound, what could be gathered, and what is being done to help different families in certain situations. And also, another intervention would be engaging in the stakeholders to see what they're doing by using something called triangulation theory. And this is a determinant of change from inputs and outcomes. And you have a log frame that goes into more detail to see what the best influence would be in order to get to the means in terms of helping those that are in dire straits. This next slide goes into the evaluation cycle, and again we're talking about the stakeholders, persons of organizations which have a vested interest within the country, to ask them for help for the people of Venezuela. Another resource would be public health workers in partnership with the people within programs that would add value to those that are in need, and also to engage in academic institutions and neighborhood organizations in order to help the people that need it the most. This next slide talks about the social ecological model that we are familiar with, and I looked at the community level, and that just involves outlets to promote well-being from the community and what programs would work best. And ignoring the poverty crisis would only bring added strain and stress to those that are already in dire straits. Now, when we look at challenges and barriers for the community, we have to look at the lack of government participation, the lack also of social community council, the lack of running water for the people. If they do have food, then if they don't have clean drinking water, it's a moot point because they don't have anything to prepare the foods with. And an uptick in the economic downturn, which is also another problem that Venezuela has been facing because of the socialist mentality of the government, and almost like a dictatorship, if you will. This logic model looks at eradicating the poverty in Venezuela. The input looks at the process through which the government and department agencies can help with the cultures and to do a better job for the people by means of strengthening social cohesion, promoting more transparency with the laws, and to identify opportunity and social risks that the people may be involved in that are keeping them in the situations that they're in. And within the input, you will have a framework that will develop civil society and grassroots organizations to help the people along with the government and their stakeholders. The activity looks at the development of the client population and the groups worst affected by the poverty levels. Some others include those residents affected by a seasonal influx of people that might have to pay too much in food or rent, so therefore they might go lacking when they have like a basic need. The output would monitor the significant social impact and identify the infrastructure within the country. Trust and expertise are key factors in balancing this agency. The outcome is to take into account the initial response from the need for community involvement and to qualify data sufficient and reliable, predicting the key issues for the future, and team building within the citizens for the country. And the impact and it ultimately is to give the citizens hope back for a viable life, decrease the infant mortality death rate, increase awareness of government participation, and so that the country can live a more healthy, prosperous existence. The role of the social worker is to skill community analyses, foster economic opportunities for those in vulnerable areas, help the community to discover their own resources, and industrial retention for the community itself. While the government role is to analyze the country's dilemma, stop socialist mentality to help the citizens, increase the pharmaceutical access for citizens. I thought this part right here is interesting because pharmaceutical sales are iffy at best, and some women are sterilizing themselves because they are afraid of getting pregnant and not being able to care for the children. And again, ensuring clean drinking water for the citizens within the country is another goal that we should look at. So basically, in conclusion, the purpose of this topic is to shine a light on the disparaging plight of the women, men, and the children of Venezuela. Women are also becoming sterile to avoid bringing more children, as I said previously in the other slide, to bring more children to the household due to a lack of resources with no means to provide for these children. Additionally, the focus of this research is to find viable solutions for the parents as well as the children of Venezuela through social work and bringing global awareness to the plight of the citizens in this region. Hopefully through more research and acknowledging that it does exist, that the future of the country will be brighter, and nutrition and meaningful resources will be brought to the country so that they can have a shot at a healthier life and a happier one. So thank you for your time. Good evening.